Letter. Geeti's recovery progressed steadily over the next few days. The fever disappeared completely and her throat felt less raw. Her natural curiosity and eagerness returned as she felt more like herself. She had also had a growing understanding of the man whom she had finally learned to call Dadaji. One morning, she stepped into the garden and spotted her grandfather sitting under the wide spreading branches of the guava tree. The morning air carried the mingled scents of earth and ripening fruit, and golden sunlight filtered through the leaves, dappling his white shirt. He sat methodically opening letters with a silver paper knife, creating neat stacks on the garden table beside him. Official correspondence in one pile, personal letters in another. Dada Geeti began hopefully, settling on the grass near his chair. Would you like to meet my friends today? The colonel looked up from his letters and instead of answering directly, handed her an envelope. This came for you in today's post. For me? Geeti took the letter with surprise. Her eyes widened at the sight of her name written in careful script on the cream-colored envelope. I haven't received a letter since... She paused, trying to remember the last time anyone had written to her specifically. Why don't you open it and find out who remembered you? Her grandfather suggested, and she caught the hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. Geeti tore open the envelope, her fingers trembling with excitement. The moment she saw the familiar curly handwriting with its perfectly dotted I's and crossed T's, she broke into a delighted grin. Dear Geeti, I hope you haven't forgotten me already. How are your holidays? Mummy says you can visit next summer. She's planning to make kachoris for you. Don't worry, I told her you can't handle the spicy ones, so she promised to go easy. How's your grandfather? Is he as scary as he sounds? Do you really have to wake up at 5 a.m.? I miss you a lot. I miss the pranks you plan. It isn't the same without you around. Your best friend, Lalita. P.S. I put up the poster you made for me. It looks awesome in my room. Geeti read the letter twice, her smile widening with each word. But as she reached Lalita's question about her scary grandfather, a little pang of guilt stirred in her chest. Was that how she had described him? She glanced at the man sitting peacefully in the dappled shade, his weathered hands gentle as he handled the correspondence. Scary seemed like the wrong word entirely now. What does your friend have to say? He asked, setting his own letters aside with characteristic neatness. How did you know it was from a friend? Geeti asked, genuinely curious about his perception. I spent many years in the army, the colonel remarked, his eyes twinkling with the faintest hint of fun. He learned to read situations and people rather quickly. Can you read what's inside letters too? Geeti asked, suddenly worried that he might have somehow seen Lalita's unflattening reference. I'm not a magician, beta, he assured her with gentle chuckle, but handwriting can tell you a lot about a person. Geeti leaned forward, intrigued. What can you tell me about Lalita? Just from the envelope, I can see she's very careful, thoughtful child, he replied, pointing to the precise lettering. See how her T's are crossed exactly in the middle and every I is dotted perfectly. That shows attention to detail. Someone who takes care with everything she does. She is careful. Geeti agreed, thinking of how Lalita always organized their shared desk at school. What else can you tell? I need to see more of her writing to say much else, he said, matter-of-factly. But I can tell she cares about you. Look how neatly she wrote your name and address. She wanted to make sure the letter reached you safely. Geeti almost offered to show him the full letter. But Lalita's question about him being scary held her back. Maybe someday when she could explain how wrong that description had been. Dadaji, she said instead, Would you like to meet Chotu now? He's my friend here. The one I told you about? Yes, I'd very much like to meet him, he replied, his ready agreement still surprising her after days of such responses. I'll go to call him, Geeti said excitedly, jumping up and heading towards the servant quarters. She found Chotu bent over a bucket of soapy water, helping his mother with the washing. He was wringing out a wet shirt, preparing to hang it on the line stretched between two neem trees. But unlike the mischievous boy she had come to know, he looked quiet, his usual spank dimmed by the routine of chores. Chotu, she called cheerfully, approaching with a bounce in her step. My Dadaji wants to meet you. Chotu startled, nearly dropping the shirt. His cheeks reddened as he glanced nervously between his mother and Geeti. What are you doing here? He whispered, looking anxiously towards the main house. I'm not supposed to. It's fine, I asked him. He said yes. Geeti interrupted, grabbing his damp hand. Come on. Chotu, what have you done now? His mother Munni asked sharply, dropping her own washing to hurry over. Why does Sahib want to see you? He hasn't done anything wrong, Geeti assured her quickly. I told my Dadaji about Chotu and he wants to meet him. I promise it won't take long. Before Munni could protest further, Geeti had pulled Chotu along and they were running back towards the garden where her grandfather waited under the guava tree. Dadaji, this is Chotu, Geeti announced proudly, slightly breathless from the dash across the grounds. No, Namaste Sahib, Chotu managed between gasps, keeping his eyes respectfully lowered. The colonel observed him silently for a long time, his expression unreadable. Geeti felt her excitement dim slightly. Was this going the way she had hoped? How long have you lived here, Chotu? He asked finally, his voice calm but focused. 4 years, Sahib, Chotu replied quietly. And you attend school? Chotu shook his head, his discomfort evident in the way he fidgeted with the hem of his still damp shirt. I see. The colonel's voice sharpened slightly, though not with anger. So what do you do with your days? I help my amma with his work, Chotu answered, glancing nervously at Geeti. All day, every day? The question carried a weight that made both children shift uncomfortably. Not all day, Chotu admitted hesitantly. Go and call your mother. The colonel instructed, his tone leaving no room for argument. Chotu stood frozen, clearly unsure whether he was in trouble or not. Geeti's stomach twisted with worry. This wasn't the friendly meeting she had imagined. Go on, her grandfather said more gently, seeing the boy's fear. Quickly now. Chotu turned and ran without another word, his bare feet barely touching the ground. Dadaji, do you like him? Geeti asked in a small voice, her earlier excitement replaced by concern. The colonel remained silent, his weathered face thoughtful as he watched Chotu disappear around the corner of the house. Minutes later, Chotu returned with his mother, both walking slowly. Munni held Chotu's hand tightly as they walked together towards the garden. Namaste, Sahib, Munni said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. You called for us? She wrung the edges of her sari nervously. If Chotu has done something wrong, please forgive him. He won't do it again, I promise. The colonel studied her for a moment, then spoke with quiet authority. He hasn't done anything wrong. There is no need to apologize. Munni and Chotu exchanged confused glances. Even Geeti looked uncertain about where this conversation was heading. Tell me, the colonel continued, why isn't the boy in school? The school is far, Sahib, Munni explained, her eyes still downcast. And he helps me with my work. We need... How far is the school? He interrupted, but not unkindly. 20 miles, Sahib, Chotu answered promptly, speaking up for the first time since returning. And do you know how to ride a bicycle? Yes, Sahib. But I don't have one. The colonel nodded, his eyes narrowing. He nodded slowly as if thinking about something. A bicycle shouldn't stand between a bright boy and his education, he said firmly. I'll arrange for one to be delivered this week. He looked directly at Chotu, his stern expression softening slightly. But you must promise me something in return. Man laga ke padna. You must study with focus, with the same focus with which you ran to get your mother. Education is the one thing one can ever take away from you. Chotu blinked in amazement, his mouth opening and closing soundlessly. He nodded 3 times in succession, his head bobbing with eager energy. Muni's eyes filled with tears. Sahib, you're too kind. We don't know how to thank you. Success in school will be thanks enough, the colonel replied, waving away her gratitude. Make sure he uses this opportunity well. Chotu skipped as he walked back towards his quarters, smiling continuously, Muni no longer holding his hand. Geeti had been silent all this while. She felt a sudden rush of warmth on her cheeks. She felt happy for Chotu. Thank you, Dadaji, she said at last. The colonel smiled and patted Geeti's head. That evening, Geeti spent hours bent over her drawing book, adding new details to the family portrait she had been working on. She carefully drew Chotu with his promised bicycle and Munni with a proud smile. But the most important addition was to her grandfather's face. She added the gentle smile she'd begun to recognize, the one that appeared when he was quietly taking care of people around him. Looking at the completed drawing, she realized that Lalita's letter had asked the wrong question entirely. Her grandfather wasn't scary at all. He was the akhroat Choti Dadi had mentioned, and only now did she start to see his soft side.